Hello and welcome to another session of Riding the Bear, where we show you how you can find your next 2x to 100x, no matter what type of market conditions you might be experiencing. Now, this show is brought to you by the VAHL platform and VAHL ecosystem. My name is Ryan. I'm so glad to be your host today. And whether you are a veteran in our community or you are brand spanking new today, I'm going to show you how to best utilize, hands down, the best research tool, which is the VAHL platform and CrowdX Calendar to support you in finding your next 2x to 100x gem. Now go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section letting me know how long you've been a part of the VAHL community. Personally, I was fortunate enough to find the VAHL community early October of last year, and it has been an absolutely wild ride. I actually today I recorded the launch of the VAHL platform. The VAHL token happened back in October. I recorded it with a couple of my buddies, and I was actually watching that this afternoon, and it was really funny to watch that, but just to see the progress. Both on a personal level with my buddies, but also with the community and the evolution and innovation that has happened over the last handful of months. And it doesn't stop there. It continues to grow and develop. And I was actually talking to one of our developers last night, and we're truly fortunate to be in a place where it's never about, oh, hey, we made it. It's always about how can we solve this? What can we do here? How can we shift this? How can we solve this? Just truly a space of innovation and ideas. And as an ecosystem, we are solving problems that some communities and projects don't even know exist yet. And why is that a big deal? Why is that important? Well, because it's so much bigger than just another presale. We are truly developing an ecosystem that can support teams and projects at various stages of their development. And that's important because it's not just about pre-sales. It's not just about a launch pad. It's not just about any one of these things. It's about the entire ecosystem that we've built and are continuing to build. And it's making a massive, massive difference in the crypto space. Now, one of the things that I did want to mention, if you're watching this right now and you don't actually hold VAHL token, go ahead and visit vahl.ai. There you're going to be able to learn about what we're up to, what the ecosystem is about, and how we get the results that we're actually getting in this space. And speaking of results, let's just go ahead and cover some of these. I want to share some of these gains with you. Now, these are user-reported gains, okay? These are gains that have come across our platform, and in the last I'd say 90 to 120 days, these are 278 projects that have done a 150% gain in 24 hours. That's absolutely massive. Okay, over 278 projects that have done that. And now specific user gains, these are the gains that actually have been reported on the platform. Okay, so we have 151x, two 36x's, a 30x, a 29x, a 27x, and a 20x. Doesn't stop there. Two 18x's, a 16x, two 15x's, a 12x, seven 10x's, a 9x, 8x, two 8x's, a 6x, five 5x's, six 4x's, 16 3x's, and 13 2x's. Whew. That is absolutely phenomenal. And the thing about this is these are not project gains, meaning a project that did good on the calendar. These are user reported gains. Okay, so we have much more gains than this because not everybody reports their gains. But what's phenomenal about this is actually people who are reporting actual gains by utilizing the VAHL platform. Now, you may be wondering, well, how are these gains? How do people get these gains? How do they find these deals? How do they find these launches? And that's the whole VAHL platform, the CrowdX Calendar. Okay, we have a process where we've combined artificial intelligence AI with crowdsourced intelligence, CI, and that allows the community to work together to sift and sort and find potential projects that have the possibility, the potential to do well. And because of that environment, because of that ecosystem, that's how we've been able to get some of the results that we are getting in our community. Now, one of the things that I wanted to bring up today was the idea of why it's important to find great teams that have great projects and follow them and study them and be a part of their community. So whenever the time comes, you're able to capitalize and take advantage of whatever the next opportunity is that the project launches. So for example, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you were able to participate in the private cell for VAHL, okay, for Skylabs. Okay, if you're able to take part in the private cell a few months back, give me a thumbs up, just letting me know if you're able to take advantage of that and be a part of the private cell here in the VEDR ecosystem. Okay, yep, so we got thumbs going up right now. Okay, the beautiful part about that is, see, VEDR started off in Discord, testing and tracking and tweaking and developing the process, and then they created a platform, they created a token, and some of you maybe even got in the private cell for VEDR. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you were in the private cell for VEDR. So you were already in the Discord because you knew what the team was up to, and then they tokenize it, and you're part of the private cell, and now you're part of the community doing your thing, rocking and rolling, and then you're able to get into the next private cell for the next evolution, the next chapter, the next resource that comes out. Okay, so this VEDR is a perfect example of a team that's committed to further develop and continuing to develop the ecosystem and the brand. Okay, it's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to execute that idea, and it's another thing to continue to innovate that idea. Think about, as long as you've been in the crypto space, how many projects have talked a big game, but ultimately just couldn't hang, just couldn't weather the storm for one reason or another. So when you find teams like this, you know, a handful of us, we're here and we're living proof that there's significant impact, and it's super important to find these great teams because it puts you at an advantage both in the short term and the long term. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, and VEDR is a great example of that. Now, last week, just for a refresher, we did talk about MetaRuffy. MetaRuffy is a project that's kind of similar to VEDR from the perspective of a quality team with a decent idea concept, but built a community and launched and had great success. Okay, so MetaRuffy, within the first 24 hours, they had an all-time high of a 5.8x, and we have a VAHL of a 5x. Okay, VAHL stands for VEDR Audited Highest Low. That means that within that first 24 hours, you had plenty of time to sell in between a 5x to a 5.8x. That's awesome. That's phenomenal. You know, a lot of people brag about the all-time high, but only one person was able to sell the top. With our ecosystem, part of our innovation, part of the way we set ourselves different and apart from others is this idea of what could the majority of people do in this situation? Only one person sold the top, the all-time high, but we're saying that you had over an hour to sell. I'm sorry, you had at least an hour to sell at a 5 to 5.8x. That's amazing. Like I said, I always use this example because this was me months back, you know, struggling on KuCoin, struggling on PancakeSwap. Oh man, I keep getting an error. What's going on? I'm not typing it in right. What's the slippage? You know, you literally had an hour where you could gotten out at a 5x, which is phenomenal. So this is the 24-hour time frame. Now we have the 7-day time frame. So we have a VAHL for the 7-day time frame. And so the all-time high in that 7-day time frame was a 21x. That's pretty awesome. The VAHL was a 16x, which means that you could have profited in between 16x to 21x within the first 7 days, but you had over 24 hours. You had over an entire day of 24 hours, a window of opportunity to swap from 16x up to a 21x and anything in between. I mean, that's massive. That's massive. We take it a step further. We go out to the 30-day time frame. Within the first 30 days of the project, okay, so right here you see here's the first 24 hours, here to here, and now you see from here to here is 7 days. Now from here to here is 30 days. So the first 30 days in this time frame, the all-time high was a 53x. That's phenomenal. Okay, the VAHL was a 19x. And the 30-day time frame, we say that you had 7 days, 7 full days to be able to sell between a 19x and a 53x. That, my friends, is a game changer. And it's funny because MetaRuffy, you guys know him, he was saying that he was actually on vacation. And I use this example, previously I use it as an example as a fictitious person, meaning, hey, you could be on vacation. You could have forgot that you got into this project and you come home and you realize, wow, I'm up. Let me close out. Well, that actually happened to MetaRuffy. He had come back from vacation and realized that he was up. But that's the beauty of the VAHL. Plenty of time, adequate time. And what we're saying is these are projects that have done a good job and plenty of people could have profited. So why am I talking about MetaRuffy right now? It's simple. MetaRuffy did good on 3 time frames. There were gains on the 24-hour time frame, 7-day time frame, and 30-day time frame. And the community still around, still growing, the team developing, nurturing, building those relationships. Does that sound familiar? It sounds like VAHL. Okay, remember what we're talking about today is finding great teams, studying them, and keeping track of them so you can capitalize on these types of game-changing projects. Okay, bank changing, like zero changing, digit changing, decimal changing projects is what we're talking about here. Okay, so when I first started in the home-based business industry, there was always this idea of a comma check. A comma check. That's where you receive a check that has a comma in it. And I just remember being a college student and talking about, comma checks. It was like the pinnacle. That's where we were headed. We just want that first comma check. These types of projects, these types of launches, being able to get in private sales, being able to get in pre-sales with communities and projects that are rocking and rolling, that is like that goal of that comma check. Okay, same thing with that comma gain. Okay, think about putting in one BNB and being able to pull out a comma, whatever number, it doesn't matter, whatever number, whether it's a 5x or a 4x, or 3.5x, and being able to pull out a comma. You put in 250, you pull out 1,000. That goal again of like, okay, these types of projects give you the ability to do that. Okay, now it comes down to stacking odds in our favor. Okay, when we're looking at projects, we always talk about what's your checklist? What are you looking for? What are the things that you like, that you look for, that supports you, that based on KSP, that this is the project you're looking for? And now we're taking that a step further, and we can do back testing or research and say, where are these other teams at? Okay, if MetaRuffy were to have launched another project, give me a thumbs up if you would have been interested in taking part of it. If you knew that MetaRuffy had this kind of track record, and you knew that they're going to be launching another project, and you were a part of their community, is that something you would have wanted to take part in because of their prior success, because of their their ability to be visionaries, their ability to create, their ability to innovate, their ability to continue to nurture and develop their community. Okay, is that the type of project that you would want to take a shot on? Goes back to gambling versus betting. We can do our due diligence and stack odds in our favor and put us more in the betting mode. Like, hey, we're betting on this, it's going to do well. The difference of gambling versus betting, you could hop into the calendar, pick any project you want. That's a gamble. It may or may not work out. Okay. But if you know your KSP, you know the Scout's track record, you know those data, that's betting. Betting would be following a project, a company, a team, and looking for their next project. Now, obviously, it gets to be a team that has continued to grow and develop, not just a team. So, for example, if this was the highlight of MetaRuffy, 5x in the first 24 hours and the project tanks, never to be seen again, and they come back 6 months later, I'm not saying that they're going to have success again. And I'm not saying it's going to be a failed project, but that's very different than a company that starts and is here a week later, 30 days later, 60, 90, 120 days, 6 months later. Very big difference between those types of groups. Okay. So whenever I talk about another project, another team launching a new project, I don't mean they ditched the first one and moved on to a new one. I mean them further developing their ecosystem. Okay. So if that makes sense, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if that's all making sense right now. So the idea and what we're talking about today is, how do we find these projects? How do we find these teams? Now, last week, we did talk about MetaRuffy. We actually had on Farouk. He was the business developer for MetaRuffy. And they were launching a new project called LooBr. Okay, they're launching a new project called LooBr. And let me just go ahead and pull it up. They actually struggled a little bit on their first launch. There were some problems with the, that's not what I meant to pull up. I meant to pull up their Telegram. There we go. Actually, let me just go over here. Here we go. Sorry, here we go. So they actually had some problems with their launch. And it was problematic. And when I say problems, I mean people couldn't sell, which is a problem. And let me see if this is the right chart or not. This may be the one I want to show. Yeah. So this is the problem that they ran into. Okay, this is a big deal. People not being able to sell is a big deal. And so, the reason that price skyrocketed like this is because, people were not able to sell. It ended up being like a 10x or whatever. Okay, so massive stuff. It's disappointing to see that happen, but it's my understanding that they actually fixed it. And let me see, contract ends in FO. Yeah, so here's a new contract. Okay, so they relaunched a little bit later, I think a day later or so. And one of the things that I've always said, you guys have probably heard me say this, is it's all fine and dandy to listen to a team say, oh, this is what we're going to do. We're the greatest. We got the best vision. We got the best product. We got the best community. We're going to rock this 10x, 5x, 100x. We're going to the moon. Let's do this. All the hype, all the rah-rah, right? We've all heard that stuff. Okay. But what happens when, let me pull up side by side. All that stuff is fine and good. Okay. The rah-rah, the hype, we're going to do this. We're the greatest. Follow us. We're going to the moon. Okay. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. So whenever a team experiences something like this, okay, and their Telegram is full of people who are absolutely livid, it's an honest mistake. Stuff happens. It's an honest mistake. Guys, this is the wild, wild west. This is like these are startup companies. This is like the tech and .com boom. Okay, we're living that right now. Mistakes are going to happen. And when those mistakes happen, that's when you get to find out who the team really is. When teams face obstacles and setbacks and roadblocks and things don't go as planned, that's when you're going to find out what the team is actually made of. Okay? When they're faced with adversity, for example, people not being able to sell. That's not ideal. People were absolutely livid in their Telegram group, as if they did it on purpose or something. I mean, my goodness, like just give the guys some grace and some space. Okay, so they ended up relaunching. I don't currently have the pre-sale price. We're just gonna go from a listing price. Okay, listing price is right here. Okay, so for right there, we got a 4.2x. The high is up here. For the high, we have 4.3x. If we were to go to 5 minutes here, and let's draw this out, see what the first 24 hours was like. I don't know if we're in the first 24 hours yet for this project. Oh, just barely. Okay, so it relaunched just about a day ago, almost to the minute. Okay, so what's the VAHL for this project? Let's just take a look. We got a horizontal line here. And what we're looking for is we're looking for an hour above this line. Okay, we're looking for an hour above this line. Okay, so right here we have, that's hour 15. That's hour 5. That's 30 minutes. Okay, so we're looking like right around here. Okay, so we're looking at probably like a 4 point. Again, this is not taking an actual pre-sale price, this is taking just a listing price. So just keep that in mind. So we're looking at about a 4.3x. Okay, within the first 24 hours, 4.3x. Okay, now, why do I bring this project up? It was real simple. This is a project that was on our calendar 10 days before, I think it was like 7 to 10 days before the actual pre-sale for MetaRuffy, which means that you could have participated in this project back in February. You could have been following this team. You could have positioned yourself to be in this project. We're always looking for an advantage. We're always looking for an edge. How can we support ourselves where we're betting on the team? We're betting on the project instead of gambling. If you just take 2 different projects, okay, 2 different projects. Let's say it's a project by a scout and you know nothing about the team, but you know the scout's track record. That's still a good thing, okay? That's still a good thing. Or you take a project from a team who you know has a great track record, great success rate, great community, and they're launching another one. One is a little more risky than the other. They're both still betting, but one is more risky only because you don't know what that team is. It's unknown at this point. Okay, so if you were to choose between a team that you know who's done well, who has a track record of success, they're building, they're innovating, or an unknown team that has a possibility, which one would you choose? If you could only choose one, would you choose option A or option B? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Because what we want to look for is, again, the idea of stacking probabilities in our favor. Okay, we want to go with what we can control, what we know. And if we could just choose one, the option is to go with a team that has a track record and a success rate more so than a team that we just don't know yet. Okay, so I say all of that to lead into the discussion that we're going to have today. Okay, and so I want to ask some questions and really get some really good feedback from you guys. Okay, so be ready to type it in the chat or be ready to come off of mute. You can share audibly. But I'm curious, when you're looking at teams and projects, what are the things that you personally are looking for with a team and with a project? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Transparency. Absolutely. That's great, Vijay. Transparency. I'm looking for communication. I'm looking for teams that, yeah, Phyllis, yeah, communication with their community. Absolutely. Staying up to date, sharing information. Okay. I'm looking for communities that's like a culture. You know, when you think about culture, what's that first part of the word? Cult. Okay, like a loyal following. Like they believe it, they bleed it, they're all for it. Okay, so like finding communities that have a culture to it, even finding communities that have like tribalism, where they're part of something, where there's a certain name for the community that people feel a belonging to, and there's ownership and responsibility tied to that. And so one of the things I was thinking about today, I was like, okay, it's easy to say, it's easy to wait around and someone to say, oh, hey, I just heard about XYZ project. This is how we found out about LooBr. Okay. Brink, I think it was Brink. Yeah, Brink brought up LooBr. Brink 36 brought up LooBr to us last week, said, hey, this is a good project. They did good with the previous project. So one way to do that is just to wait around and hope that one comes across your desk or one comes across your socials. Like, hey, this project was previously successful. I think back in one of the first projects that the Better Trading Club was a part of was Moonforce. And that was from Dev Team 6, and they have a reputation. There was a lot of hype around that project because of their reputation. And so, you can start thinking about those types of things. But what I'm curious about is, and please share your ideas, what's a way that we could be proactive to find potential GOATs, greatest of all time? What's a way that we could be proactive to find these great teams and projects that have potential? Feel free to just spitball some ideas, drop some ideas in chat on what are some ways that we could find. Yeah, absolutely, Phyllis, volume of launches. Okay, so you look back and you start seeing, okay, what are the projects that you took part in that actually did well? Okay, and maybe follow up on those projects and look back and say, okay, they did good X time frame. Where are they now? What are they doing now? Okay, so that's one way that you could look at that and consider that. Okay, and so to do that, one of the things that we've been adding to the platform, and it's going to be going live soon, is, let me see here, how best to do this. Let me go on Mr. Gloomy Inu here. So what you're going to notice here is we have something now where the same area where the votes show up, we have the VAHL and all-time high are being recorded. Okay, so during the auditing process, we record this data, and the auditing team has been inputting this information for all the projects. And we're going to be in a place where on the gains section, you're going to be able to see the VAHL gains. And when we start seeing projects that are still around after 30 days, okay, projects are still around after 30 days, that to me is a pretty solid indication of like, hey, this is a team that is still here. Some projects don't last an hour. Some projects don't last a day, let alone a week. I mean, come on, 30 days, that's a milestone. It's a milestone. So we could be proactive by looking at projects and searching, how they did. Okay, Wanda says, when the vetting is done, is there space on the calendar to enter the team's name so we can search by the developer team? That's a great idea, Wanda. That's a great idea. We're in the business of collecting data, And so let me make that note here. That's a really good question. No, that's really good, Wanda, because to your point, during the vetting process, we're collecting this information, we're collecting that data, and that information could be collected and stored, and there could even be a place. You've heard about this. Kind of plays into a little bit about part of the ecosystem with rumor or things like that, where finding out about things in advance, and this could be one of those things. Knowing what MetaRuffy did in the beginning, if we'd found out about this, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, there's a pretty good shot that, being a part of that community, getting, whitelisted and being a part of the pre-sale. And here you're sitting at a 4.3x within the first 24 hours. And as Justin would say, this is not financial advice, but as Justin would say, give it a couple of weeks to hit its high. Why? Because of volume of launches in KSP. Again, not financial advice, but just, after you watch things happen a handful of times, you recognize that there's patterns and there's trends with these projects. But no, Wanda, that's a great point. So one of the things I was thinking about today is, how could we utilize, this gain section, and we can just go back and look at some of these projects. Okay. So for you individually, with the resources that you have, if you wanted to find great projects from great teams, where would you go to look? What would you start doing? Go ahead and drop it in the comment section. The thought that I had was, what would it look like to scroll through some of these projects? And, these are projects where people recorded a gain on them. Okay. And just to follow up with them, take a minute to go check out the Telegram and see, like, okay, what are they up to? Okay, a little bit of research, of course, but to check it out and dig deep and say, okay, well, at launch they did this. Okay, that's cool. What are they up to now? Maybe there was a project. Let's just check this one. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into, but let's look at Sphere Finance. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, these are pretty massive numbers. Okay, so 24 hours, we had a 9x. 7 days, we had a 11x. And massive on the 30-day. Holy smokes. And we had 133x on the 30-day. That's pretty massive. What is this team up to? So what I would do is I would go check out the Telegram. I would, of course, join it. But why is it not allowed? Why are messages not allowed? Okay, what's going on here? Okay, I'm not sure why I'm not. Oh, it looks like they just have the chat off. Okay, but so I would start watching this project. I would start looking to see what they have going on. I would visit the website and just to get insights into, okay, what are they up to? What are they doing? The S&P 500 of crypto. Okay, I would just get plugged in to see what's going on. Okay, see if there's opportunity still here. See if they are continuing to innovate and develop, and just get a feel for the project. This is a project that did good over the short term and long term. Sitting at 190 million market cap. And it's down from where it was, but still sitting at sitting really nice. Still sitting at a 6x. Okay, this is kind of similar to Better. Massive gains and still holding strong. Okay, so that's one of the ideas that come to my mind about doing a little bit of due diligence to get a pulse for projects that have done really well, both in the short term and long term. And now, what are they doing? What are their plans to continue to grow and develop? I mean, it's crazy to see it's a 6x from here, and it's sitting at 190 million market cap. Man, what was it when it was up here? That's massive. So that's what I would do. So then on Telegram, what I would do is, you can make your little boxes here. Can I add another one? I can. So what should we call this? We could call this maybe goats. Okay. And now, oh yeah, let me put a little symbol there. That's great. And now I want to add sphere. What? Why is it not showing up? Weird. Am I spelling it right? Yes, I am. Okay, let me save this. Let me just create. I need to put at least one in there. Okay, let me put, Vetter is obviously a goat. Let me put Vetter in there. Create. Okay, so here's my goat. Okay, now why did that not show up? It's really strange. Absolutely, Justin. Justin says that he'd be looking at his roadmap to see what's coming up next.
Hey, you might want to save it, because I have a section on goats, and I was adding them, and there's like a double save or something. And I wasn't saving them, and I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So I clicked save, I added Vetter to it, but now sphere is not coming up. So anyway, you guys know how to do this. I'm just having some technical difficulties for some reason. But that's what I would do. And so in like what Justin just shared is, now you have your goat folder. So close all this other hype out. Now you have your goat folder. And so you can now have a list of these projects where, they're not on the pre-sale list, meaning they're not upcoming launches necessarily. They're not on the active list that you're actively in, but they're on your GOAT list, where, every once in a while you check in to see what's going on. You see what's there. You're looking for what they're doing. You're, like Justin said, you're looking at the roadmap, what's coming out in the future, where they're going to be developing. Maybe they're having some new AMAs, and you're able to plug in and see what's going on there. So you can position yourself and put yourself in a position to do well. And I found this project. Let's think about this, guys. Let's think about this. And I don't know what Sphere is going to do or not going to do. Okay. I have no idea. But how was Sphere going to come across our desk if we're just sitting and waiting? It's almost like we just get to hope that Vodka Hawk is following the team, and it just so happens that he sends us a message in Telegram and says, "Oh, hey, the team of Sphere is launching their phase 2 or whatever," and like that's not a very good strategy. So again, today, as I was messing around on the platform, I was like, "Hey, we could use these games section to literally just scroll through and look at different projects." Literally, there's tons of these. Okay, we started recording these 4 months ago. Okay, but you could literally just click on one and do the process that I just did, and just see, okay, hey, and some of these are going to be, short-term projects that didn't last more than 24 hours. Okay, of course, there's going to be those like that. Not a problem. Okay. And you would just move on to the next one. Like, okay, Overmoon Protocol. I have no idea what I'm about to find right here. No clue. No clue. Okay. It had is this an IDO? Nope. Pre-sale. Okay. It had a VAHL of a 336, 1802, and 361. Okay. Let's check out what the chart looks like now. Again, I have no idea. I have no idea what we're going to find. Not a clue. Looks like a lower market cap. It is trending up on the hour. Okay, so this project looks like it's kind of faded out a little bit. Okay, not a problem. Okay, it looks like it could be below pre-sale price. We don't have the pre-sale price just right here in front of us right now, a little bit below. Okay, so let's check out the Telegram. What are they up to? What are they doing? And let me take, I'll even take MetaRuffy's suggestion and check out the roadmap. You know, here we are in July. What's the roadmap say? Oh, there's no dates on this. Okay. So we don't really know where we're at as far as the roadmap goes. There's no dates. But I suppose we could search to see if they had a Surtec. Well, so this is back in March. Okay, I don't really see much as far as this is not telling me that they're active and that they're, you know, stuff's going on. What about their, okay, so they're okay, so they're talking about oh, the market's down, boohoo, boohoo. Okay, development has started. Okay, this was back in May. That's like 2 months ago. And so it's, I don't know. I mean, I have a way different feeling about, you know, this particular project compared to Sphere. You know, I like Sphere, the vibe and feel more so than what this one's given me. But these are just some ways to, again, to bet on these pre-sales and stack probabilities in your favor. Okay, the VAHL private sell, you know, we raised millions of dollars in a very short period of time. Millions. Why? Because this community has a really strong base, a really strong following, a really strong culture of believers and supporters. And we're looking for other projects and teams who've developed the same thing. You know, I don't know what the numbers were for I don't know what the numbers were for, you know, Moonforce or anything like that, but something really similar. You know, their pre-sale sold out real quick because of that base. Okay, Justin says they say they're listing on a centralized exchange, perhaps a big pump coming when they do, something else to consider. Absolutely. You know, so like right here, talking about these different things. The only challenge I have with this is for my example, for my example is I was hoping there'd be dates so I could see like how far away we are. But I guess here's the only indication that we have. Here's our only indication. Phase 1 has check marks. Everything else has bullet points. So if, you know, if it has or hasn't been updated, at least at some point, this is what they've accomplished. Next is where they're at now. But, you know, Overmoon, is it on CoinMarketCap? I usually search names in CoinMarketCap. I don't know if you search, whoops. Okay, so it looks like they have not updated their roadmap, okay, because they're on CoinMarketCap. Anyway, what I was trying to get is, it'd be really helpful for me if I knew where they were in the roadmap. But to Justin's point, exchange listing. And so, that could bring an influx of excitement in people. And so, some of this work's already done as far as, we're just taking it to the next step of, we found a project that's still alive, didn't completely tank, didn't completely rug. The developers are still here. They're still working towards things. Now, how do we position ourselves to take advantage of what's next in the phases, or what's next in the ecosystem, similar to that of MetaRuffy and LooBr, similar to that of Vetter and Skylabs? How do you position yourself? What kind of research and things can you do to find these next opportunities? Phyllis said, look at the successful, look who the successful developers were following. Okay, so what groups are they in? Another thing, Phyllis, that you had shared before on Twitter.
I wanted to just elaborate on this, what I started to do, and it might be something, for everybody to kind of start looking at when you have a developer, like for instance, we just had the developer that you just spoke about that we, got into. He was Ruffy, and then the
LooBr, yeah.
So if, once you kind of dump that developer into your GOAT folder, then you can go back to the developer and see like what groups they're actually in, and you'll pick up some great information, because why would they even be, if they're a good developer, right? Let's look at what they're doing. Who
Right.
are they following? Because obviously they're also getting into projects as well. So
Right.
just another idea. But yeah, on Twitter, the other thing I said on Twitter is, it's great to follow someone like, all these guys out there on Twitter, but go see who they're following. Who are they following?
Right.
Because you can go and look on their Twitter, profile, right? But however, guarantee you that a lot of people already in the community, or whoever, are already looking at those, particular launches. But if you go look at who they're following, you're going to come up with other people that they feel, are strong developers, or strong projects.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. You're basically, you're kind of inserting yourself into their network, being able to see who they're following. So for example, if, Phyllis, rockstar developer, and, she's had a handful of great projects, and you go look her up and you go follow her. But then you look at all the people that she's following, and there's a reason that she's following these people, whether she knows that something new is coming, or she's networking, or things like that. And so it allows you to tap into their network, and have a different perspective. Maybe they are a couple steps in front of everybody. And why is that? Where are they getting their sources and that information? But yeah, as I was thinking today, I was just thinking like, wow, this could be a really cool process and strategy that anybody could do to, again, just utilizing these gains in here and pick some of these projects, like Crow Market, for example. Now, this is a project, MetaRuffy, you may speak on this. You may know a little bit more about it than I do. I will admit, one of my challenges is, I have not found a way to stay on top of projects and their updates. Like, I like looking at charts, but going through Telegram and things like that. So I often find out about really crucial moves after the fact, because I'm not following the Telegram group. And I just happened to see, a conversation. I don't know if it was MetaRuffy or if it was Sleepy, but one of them was in, Crow Market talking, and then it caught my attention. I realized that, they're maybe coming out with like a V2 or something like that. But that would be another example. This was a really cool project. I had a good launch, and then I'm not really sure, what the development was after that, because I stopped following them. But this is an example of like another opportunity to because I know that something else is coming. So, Justin, if you know more details than I do, please feel free to share.
Yeah, that was a great launch. That was a good project. And actually, it's unfortunate that it is where it is, because there's massive value in the Chronos network for that
Right.
project. It's just the way that Chronos kind of collapsed a little bit there a few weeks, month or two ago. It kind of took it down in most projects in the Chrome market with it.
Yeah.
So it's really unfortunate that happened. These guys decided not to walk away and to continue with the project, but they've created a new project for uh, other markets networks as well. They're launching a new project. I think it's Ocean Market on
Yes.
BSC. They've I was in a conversation quite a bit, so was Sleepy, with these guys on this project, and I don't agree with the way that they're doing it. If you are a Crow market holder from launch time, you will be airdropped for that new Crypto Ocean project. However, that's not coming till October, but
Yeah.
they're actually releasing a couple other projects in the meantime, and giving you an opportunity. They actually have a private sale going on right now on a project called Yin Yang, which I don't really like that much, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
But this is an example of developers who are, in my opinion, who are good, who stick with it, who've got a loyal following, that are open and transparent. They're trying and they're working for the community. They're not just working for themselves, and that to me makes them, really good developers. Same with even like that Doze Jet and Safe Jet, developer James there. Same thing. He was working for the people. It was a project that kind of failed, and he was able to get another one going, and that would have been a great opportunity to make some good gains off that one too, because he's a good developer as well. Yeah, this is a fantastic topic today on this call. Something I've wanted to discuss for quite a while. One of the things that I think that, and I don't want to add any more responsibility to vetters, but I do believe that, it's, in a way, it's kind of would be a great added responsibility to a vetter because we're the ones who know if we're looking at a project, if they've done other projects,
Right.
so it's just something that we can add to a bucket, or we can add to a column somewhere that, yeah, hey, I'm looking at, this LooBr project, and these guys did MetaRuffy. Check it out. And it takes 2 seconds for the vetters to do that. And I think that that's something that could be added to the your toolbox for finding those GOAT developers, is having the vetters kind of chime in and do that as well, because we've all seen them, we've all heard of them. And if you're just following around Telegram stuff, you might not always catch that.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think this is a fantastic topic today for sure.
Yeah, you make a great point about the vetters, because like that makes a big deal. So I want you guys to think back a few I don't know, maybe a month ago. Time is flying by, so I don't know how long ago this actually was, but remember Justin, Aaron, and myself, I think it was the three of us, we were talking about this project called Only Gems, and we were digging in, and it was a fun discovery. And but remember what Justin said. He said, guys, so just to get you up to date, so this project originally was called Pooface Inu, okay, and it had an okay launch. But like, we were digging in, we were doing our due diligence, we're sifting through Telegram, and it took us a few minutes to realize what was going on, because like the Telegram was older, it had a big following, it looked like great engagement, and we finally put all the pieces together. And originally, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, but you weren't that impressed with the project. But then when you realized that it was from the same team that had prior success, you said, hey, guys, this is worth looking at, this is worth watching. And so the first 24 hours, the project didn't do much. Okay. It actually tanked. Okay. But the high in the first 24 hours was like 30%. Okay. 1.3x, not that much. Okay. The high in the 24-hour time frame, again, 2.4x. That's the all-time high. So we're probably looking at around like a 2.2x. Okay. Now, again, let's not get it twisted. This is the crypto space. A 2x is still a big deal. let's not get it twisted. But here in the 30-day time frame, the all-time high, I think, was close to a 6x. Okay, so we're right around 7x. Okay, and let's go to the daily, actually. Make this a little bit easier for us. Okay, so for the daily, we're probably looking at like still a 2x, but it did have a high of, did I say a 7x a minute ago? I think I did say 7x. Yeah. Okay. So for the VAHL, we're probably looking at like right around, right around here. So still a 2x. Okay. So 2x to 7x within that 30-day time frame. Now, one of the things that Justin said when we were looking at this project was simply because this team had already built a community that had a launch that people made money on, and the community was excited. Like, those are wins. Those are stacking probability in our favor. That's when we go from gambling to betting. Okay. The moment we saw this project, we're in gambling mode. The more research we do, we start realizing, hey, this has potential. We move into the betting mode. And so, Justin, I just wanted to bring that up because, on that call, you said, like, the moment we figured out that this was a team that had worked on a previous project, you're like, hey, this is worth looking into. And if you were on that call and if you were following along, it took a little bit of time. It did take some time to get some gains, but it did come. And there were 7 days where you could have sold between a 2x and a 7x. And that's pretty amazing, considering that, you plugged into a call, you took some notes, you followed along, did your due diligence, and that's a pretty good thing. Justin, did you want to share anything on that?
I just wanted to mention the importance of finding and tracking and keeping your volume of launches going and tracking all this extra data and information in this world, crypto world, because this is a great example. Like, people like to make money. They don't like to not make money. So
Yeah.
if I've been involved in a project, even if it's a first time project, and if I've made money, I'm going to remember that project, mainly because of my volume of launches, my data collection. And so the next time that I see that project, that developers create a new project or even start discussing a new project, just like with VAHL, I'm going to get pretty stoked and I'm going to get pretty hyped about that. And right now, especially in the space, as we know, hype is one of the biggest things surrounding a project and a project launch. So
right,
nothing's going to create hype better than previously making money from the same people. So
yeah,
with those volume of launches and keeping those notes and knowing those developers have done that project and that project and that project, I'm always going to keep going back, even if it's just to check it out and do a little bit more due diligence. But I like making money, and I get hyped making money, and that's how I do it, is by following these developers that have had successful projects in the past, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You make a great point. You don't forget the people who got you paid. Like, you remember the people who got you paid. You remember the people who took care of you. And so whether you got in and you ripped, or you got in and got out and you didn't look back, there's a lot of people who are going to look back because that experience of this, on the other project, those gains, there's a reason to come back to the dinner table. if you know the developer is going to serve up another great course, hey, let's come back and let's eat again. No, I think that's fantastic. I think that as we're collecting more data, the beautiful thing about what we have here with the platform is there is so much data and information here. And when we start incorporating names of teams, I mean, the sky's the limit, guys. But we could easily, when we're up and running and things are moving with the new Launchpad and the different integrations that we're going to be able to do. We could just as easily have I'm not making promises. I'm just imagining right now. Okay. So this is not a promise. This is not a development promise. I'm just imagining, but like, just like a hot list. I mean, what if there was a GOAT list, and based on certain criteria that projects have done and certain projects that developers have done, that maybe they're on the GOAT list. And, there's a section where, again, it goes back to, we don't have to be the ones all individually sifting and sorting, but collectively. Phyllis, if you're looking at one GOAT and Justin, you're looking at another GOAT and I'm looking at another GOAT, all we got to do is report some of that information and the entire community wins. And, like I said, as the ecosystem continues to develop, I could really see things like that. At the same time, just like what we talked about with Mind Token earlier this week, people will want to be listed on the platform, and GOATs would want to be listed on the platform because of the reputation of what we have at Better. Ed, the gentleman that we interviewed on Tuesday, he was excited and honored that we were looking at him and considering him, and we were talking about his project, and like, that's super cool. And that's the relationship and that is the reputation that we're building in this space. And that's before that's what we've done so far. Everything we do each day moving forward continues to build and grow that. And, so you fast forward 30 days from now, we're launching, and you fast forward again after we've had a handful of launches, and the charting software is up and running, and we're connecting different databases. And I mean, just where we're headed and what's going on behind the scenes is absolutely phenomenal. And the cool part is, you're in a place where, you're here early watching it evolve, and ideas being created and implemented, just like what Wanda said today about recording the team info. Like, that's something that can have something really simple as that little bit of information, but can have a massive impact on our ecosystem. And as you guys know, that is one of the things I love most about the platform is the crowdsource model, and people sharing ideas and different perspectives from different walks of life. And I appreciate that so much. And, so today, Wanda was able to share that thought, and, Justin was able to share, his thoughts, and, Phyllis chimed in and shared her thoughts. And that is what makes, this ecosystem and platform so powerful. So before we hop off, does anybody have any questions on what we were talking about today, or any ideas or closing thoughts that you want to share? Feel free to unmute and hop in, or drop your questions or comments in the comment section, and we can go over it there.
Is there a section, Ryan, where we could I don't know about if it's on Discord or where we would do that, but is there a place where we could add like topic suggestions for these calls?
Yeah, so in the past, I've just asked people to either drop it here in chat, or drop it in Telegram, and just tag me and I collect them. But so right now it's just a call to action place. It's not a designated place, but Telegram in the main chat, great spot. I mean, anyone could just tag me there and just say, hey, would this be a great topic for the sessions?
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Anybody?
I wanted to. Nope. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just wanted to have a conversation in the next little bit about micro caps and specifically gaming coins,
Yeah.
and sort of the success and my volume of launches, and what's going on with my thoughts on that. I've been kind of tracking them and putting them a little bit here and there in Discord, but there's been a lot of consistencies, and it's been pretty exciting. And so I just thought there'd maybe be a time where we could discuss, projects that are already launched. We know that there's a better chance than not that are not going to rug or not going to scam, but there's a bit of a track record and history and predictability there. And I thought that would be a great topic that we could talk about.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that'd be a fantastic topic. I know, we traditionally talk about, pre-sales, but, as the ecosystem is expanding, microcaps is going to be a part of that. And ultimately, though, at the core of what you're talking about is volume of launches and KSP. And so I think that would be fantastic topic, because the reason you've learned that stuff is because taking the time to document it. And that's independent of what strategy, whether it's a pre-sale or that's independent of that. The discipline and foresight to keep track of that stuff is absolutely relevant. And so, yeah, I would love to talk about that and pick your brain on that, and, use some real examples, and use some charts and just show how to even show the point of, let's say that you didn't get a whitelist for a certain project. What Justin is saying right now is there are strategies where, based on data, not based on opinions or emotions, but based on data, there are strategies where you could still capitalize, having not gotten a whitelist, having not gotten part of the pre-sale. You can still capitalize on these moves because of the data that Justin's collected. I think that'd be invaluable.
Yeah, no, I think it's great too. There's Crypto Legion's Bloods right now that was on the calendar that it's just taken off, and it's it's an unbelievable chart, but it's exactly spot on the way that from the 9 or 10 of the same kind of projects that I've been tracking, it is absolutely not a shock to me. So it's a place where you could get a 10x or whatever just a few days ago. So and it's all because of that. This is a great project that's going.
Yeah, no, the reason I knew exactly what you meant is because I recorded this information the other day, and
well, it's probably almost doubled since then.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's doing great.
Let's take a gander. Let's see here. 25 milli market cap. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah, when I saw it right here.
Yeah. And this is absolutely not a shock, this chart, because all the boxes that were checked off, and that's something that would be great to talk about, those boxes, but this is not a shock. So, which is cool.
Yeah, 11x. That's spicy. 11x in this market. And, we just looked at another Telegram where people complaining about market conditions. Yeah. And we got projects doing this right here. I love it. No, I think that'd be a fantastic. And like what Wanda is saying, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, is, you never know whether to jump in. So you see this. So imagine, let me get my notes. Let me get this here. Or let me do it a different way. Let me do this. Okay, imagine this is that's not supposed to happen. Let's see here. Let me start over. So you see a chart like this, and you're like, oh my goodness. Wanda's like, and I know I'm like this as well. I know other people are as well. This project tanked. Is it done? Because that's all we see on the chart. We see, it went up at launch, it went down, it's steadily gone down ever since. It's maybe, it's a little bit down from the pre-sale price, and it's like, is it going to go back up? Should I get back in? I don't really know. And yeah, so Justin, for you to hop on and share some insights into, the criteria that you're looking for on why, again, this goes back to betting versus gambling. So right now, Wanda, I can relate with you. If I saw this chart, I would be like, man, I don't know. That's a gamble to me to get in right there. It's tanked. It's done. It's absolute gamble. I don't know if I should get in or not. And
And it's the best looking chart to me.
right, because of your KSP, it's not gambling for you. It's betting because you know what boxes you're looking for, and it checks the boxes. You know the game. You have your volume of launches. I think you sharing that stuff and sharing the reasoning and philosophy behind that would be invaluable to people.
Yeah, I'd love to. And we got 2 projects on the go that are launched right now that are doing the same thing. They're right at that bottom, and so we're in the Discord. We're kind of doing a live thing as it goes. I don't know how to do it any other way, but yeah, there is some algorithms to these projects in this class of gaming tokens. My class that I have created my own classification of, but
Yeah. What do you call this classification?
Well, I call it Class A. Now,
Class A.
I have
Okay.
A, B, and C classes, and it's a call to kind of in itself just to go through what those
Of
classes
course.
mean. But this is definitely an A class, and there's another one right now, a Gold Rush token that's going right now, which I'm kind of doing a live thing a little bit on Discord. The progress on that. That's a A class. Petoverse was an A class. There's a ton that aren't, and that's the what you got to watch for, because this does not happen to any other project other than what I consider an A class
Yes.
token, which checks all those boxes. So
Oh, I love
it's
it.
a fine line to walk. There is a little bit of risk and gamble and guessing, I guess there always is in these projects, but at the end of the day, I've tracked well over 10 now that are doing almost spot on exactly what this is doing, and
Yeah.
so I'm pretty stoked and excited about that. And again, it's because of those volume of launches and that KSP that I contributed my private sale from the funds that I created by following this program and doing this.
Yeah, no, that is fantastic. I know I would definitely love to listen in and learn and pick your brain on that. And I'm pretty sure that other people would as well. What I do know is that whatever it looks like with microcaps, right now, man, you are sharpening your axe. And whenever the ecosystem is fully launched and live, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to learn from you. And so, yeah, man, keep up the good work, because like we've been talking about, you've been putting in the discipline and work to learn and master this. And that's going to be a fantastic asset to the community. And it's going to help a lot of people win, and which is super cool.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You know, one nice thing, I would just want to add one more thing about this, is the fact that I'm so tired of projects either not raising the money for their private sale, or they rug, or they scam, or they just die off, or whatever. One thing to know about these projects like this, these grade A style gaming projects, is, as you can see, there's over a month that this has been live, and none of those things have happened. So you
Right.
know that that's taking that little bit of insecurity or anything out, that and even if this does now, for whatever reason rug at this point, look at all the opportunity you've had to make a fortune off this. So it takes a lot of that fear away for me, knowing that this project is still here and still
Yeah,
around. So it takes that risk out, and so I like that.
absolutely. No, I mean, I love it, man. I love it. Like I said, when I saw this project, because also I knew what the gains were for the 24-hour and the 7-day time frame. And so even at the 30-day time frame, there was a significant difference over here compared to over here. But the fact that it's been ramping up, it's been ramping up as other projects are tanking, it's ramping up. That's super cool. So thank you for bringing that up. Because like, yeah, I like seeing this, and definitely want to, like I said, pick your brain on, what this looks like and what you're looking for, because that's a massive asset to the community.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. Well, brother, hey, thank you so much for sharing some insights. Just out of curiosity, give me some thumbs up if you would like to listen in and hear Justin break down his grade A or classification A on what these things look like, and how, on how just because it looks like this, it's not over. That there's still room, there's still opportunities left to capitalize on that, because I think that definitely, Justin, definitely, we're going to have you back, and we'll have a specific conversation around that. And I think that a lot of people will benefit from that. So thank you so much for sharing. All right, perfect. Yeah, a handful of people are like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, so we'll talk about it. We'll promote it up in Discord and in Telegram, and I think a lot of people will enjoy that. So with that, guys, that's going to wrap us up for the day. I'm consistent. We started about 10 minutes later, and I still went about an hour 15. I'm consistent with that hour 15. I guess is just a sweet spot, no matter what we talk about. So with that, guys, and like I always do, life can be short. So for those that you care and love, let them know you care and love them. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this community, and for being here and contributing. I'm having the time of my life, and I'm so thankful that our paths have crossed, and we get to do this together and work together, learn from each other. It is an absolute blast. So with that being said, I'll see you in Discord. I'll see you in Telegram. Bye for now.